Shout out to my channel members Loki Bentio and NQG420 for going above and beyond to support some random guy on YouTube that uploads goofy videos. Much love. Now this is easily the weirdest chapter in Jujutsu Kaisen, weirder than the Mei chapter in Shibuya and the Yorozu chapters during the Culling Games arc. Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 268 is a chapter that was released in Weekly Shonen Jump. I think that is the best way to put it. It is truly a chapter that exists. And the discourse that has been surrounding this chapter is definitely the discourse of old time. So this chapter opens up with dialogue between Sukuna and Megumi that honestly had me scratching my head in confusion. Megumi's conclusion in this arc is very confusing. This arc went through all of this insanity just for Megumi to decide to continue living and being Yuji's housewife. It feels like Megumi's character went in circles and just ended on nothing. When I just hear characters say that they will live for someone else and the story does not acknowledge that a mindset like that is unhealthy, I cringe. Megumi's entire character is focused around his self-worth issues, and his conclusion does not suggest an improvement towards this behavior, because once again he's deciding to live for someone else. The story tries to trick you by presenting this statement by Megumi to be development, but it truly is no different than what he's been doing since chapter 1. Then there's Yuji and Sukuna's content in this chapter that feels like Gege understood that Shibuya was his magnum opus, so he decided to copy and paste it in this chapter. The entire Shinjuku raid felt like a longer version of Yuji versus Mahito, but after this chapter I believe that the Mahito fight is better, so that is very disappointing. My subscribers who watch my Jujutsu Kaisen content are probably confused on why I feel this way. For months I've been praising the Shinjuku Showdown arc, and now it looks like all of a sudden I hate the arc. I haven't been uploading content on every chapter release for a while now, so this confusion is pretty valid. Anyone who follows me on Twitter would know the lore though. Also, I don't want to get super off topic right now, so I will discuss where my shift in opinion towards Shinjuku Showdown started and my full review of the arc once the series ends. Right now, all I will say is that Sukuna and Yuji's dynamic feels all over the place. It comes off weird to have Yuji still be this empathetic towards Sukuna. 3 chapters ago, Sukuna claimed to understand humanity of someone else, but ultimately just didn't care. The entire plotline feels rushed. So for Yuji to still want to teach the man is very weird. Sukuna also seems to have pride in being what he believes to be a curse, which is odd considering his portrayal throughout the series until this point. Just strange dialogue all over the place in this chapter. At the very least though, it was nice to see Sukuna still be a hater even in death, plus he finally called Yuji by his full name. Now after Sukuna's weird conclusion, the chapter shifts into my favorite section. It feels great to know that my Hakari video aged like fine wine. Sukuna is currently getting his back blown out by Nobara and Yuji tag teaming him, so there's no chance of Hakari getting a chance to interact with Sukuna. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if Gege has Urarame take their own life upon hearing about Sukuna's defeat, meaning that Hakari once again would not have the facilities to defeat a top tier. Everything I said in that video came to fruition in this chapter, word for word, bar for bar. Hakari does not have the facilities to end fights. Urarame was so tired of this series that they decided to end their own life. Hakari versus Urarame will go down as one of the worst altercations in manga history. Gege Akutami, you surprised me. Urarame actually ended up being one of the most bland characters in the series. All Urarame amounted to was Sukuna's meat writer. That is sad. Urarame and Hakari could have been interesting characters. It is so disappointing to witness how they were handled. And then we just move on to more serious stuff in this chapter. Gojo's note to Nobara, it was just cringe, because why is Gege trying to make me care about Nobara's relationship with her mother at this point? This moment showcases just how much Gojo and Nobara's relationship was lacking throughout the entire story. She talks about Gojo like she would piss on his grave throughout the entire chapter. Gojo's death has not affected Megumi and Nobara at all. They are treating this news like a regular day. That was their mentor. Their mentor died and they feel nothing. Then we also get revealed that Yuji talked to Gojo during the time skip, and I doubt we are ever going to get to see that conversation. Gojo's note to Megumi made me laugh, but not in a good way. It was a laugh that spoke the words, "There is no way that this chapter is real." Then this chapter just ends on everyone walking to where Yuta's being kept because they need to save him, because the last time we saw Yuta, his body had shut down. I'm fully expecting for Yuta to survive, by the way. I don't think that Gege will make Yuta fans take one more L before the series concludes. Regardless, that entire plotline with Yuta taking over Gojo's body went absolutely nowhere. Thus, I'm not expecting that chapter to be any good in regards to Yuta content. I wouldn't be surprised if Yuta is stuck inside Gojo's body for the rest of the series, with a fragment of Gojo's soul somehow still active inside the body, resulting in a Naruto and Kurama situation. I know that this sounds stupid, but when a character like Nobara, whose status was left ambiguous for years and then returned to the story with 5 chapters left, then I have to prepare myself for anything at this point. Which was completely garbage, by the way. I'm happy that my agenda won, but the execution of Nobara's return stinks like elephant piss. Gege really expects me to believe that every character in the story knew that Nobara was in a coma, but Yuji? Aight man. Nobara woke up, went to the place where Sukuna's finger was being sealed, and got straight to work in under 30 minutes, after being in a coma for almost 2 months. Unserious writing. Jujutsu Kaisen feels like Dragon Ball Heroes level of fanfiction right now. Anything that sounds like foolishness has a decent chance of happening in the last 3 chapters. Saying that the series has 3 chapters left sounds utterly insane, because it does not feel that way. We still don't know what's going on with the US government plotline, the last thing we saw was Hana saving that one soldier from the fisherman cursed spirit. The US government is probably conducting experiments on sorcerers as we speak, and there's no information on how that has affected the world of the series. There's a decent chance that Gege gave up on that plotline the same way he gave up on Hakari versus Urame. He might just give us a panel of a US scientist and call it a day. We still need payoff to Yuki and Kenjaku's debate on how humanity should evolve, a world that breaks away from cursed energy or a world that optimizes cursed energy, which is correct. We also still need payoff to Kenjaku saying that his will be inherited, because Sukuna clearly did not inherit Kenjaku's ideals. He inherited the ability to activate the merger, but not his will. Those are two different things. Plus, the merger plotline seemingly concluded on one of the most anticlimactic developments in this manga, so I doubt we will get anything more pertaining to it. The only scenario I can think of is Gege pulling the merger out of his rectum in the last chapter so he can subvert expectations one last time, resulting in people calling the decision peak fiction because of themes and such. Gege screwed up with this 5-chapter announcement because even if he attempts to conclude these plotlines, there's a 90% chance the execution will be bad because there's not enough time to flesh them out properly. The next chapter seems to be Yuta focused, so that means that Gege will have to wrap up a lot of these unfinished plotlines in a satisfying way with only 2 chapters left. I'm not trying to be overly negative, I'm just being real. We just have to accept the L and keep it pushing. Maybe pray that the anime adds in some anime original content. I will not be waiting for that, but I wish you all the best when it comes to that agenda. Overall, it seems like Jujutsu Kaisen was not one of those stories to break the shonen curse of rushed endings. On the bright side though, Seien's greatest soldier is rotting in hell with Geto. Hopefully Gege cooks up a masterclass in these last 3 chapters, or also my review for the final arc will be one that discusses more L's and dubs. Also, since the channel has reached 10,000 subscribers, I need to think of a new outro, so until then, enjoy this picture of Chopper.